Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail, bringing you some Scrolls Tournament action today, where we have Light and Artr0x in the Scrolls Invitational Open Qualifier Final. That's right, there's an invitational tournament with cash prizes. 16 players will be involved, 15 were invited based on ranking, and there's one slot left for either Light or Artr0x after both of them survived a brutal, challenging tournament tree in a one-day event. So this is at the end of the day, very tough fighting. And it's just down to two really good players. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a best of 5 format here. So this is not the only game we'll be seeing today, just the first one. So we're looking at Light's perspective, and you can see right away that he gets 2 Vaders of the Wild, which can be great for ramping up if he has something to ramp up to, and Artr0x very likely is playing Order here. So as long as these Vaders don't get kabonked or something, Light could have a very good hand early in the opening here. So there's the first Vader as Artr0x, who's been very public with his deck recently. It's not one that necessarily ramps up it's not one that gets a lot of things out early, but it ramps up very strongly from the mid game. Meanwhile, Light being able to get out one of his Vaders with impunity and decides to go ahead and put out the second one. So right away he's already at 4 resources to Artr0x's 1, so very tough position for any player to be in, to face a growth player who can get Vaders like that out in a hurry. Light sacrifices the Druid Burial Ground, and he could play the Mangy Wolf, but wisely decides to play the Ancestral Totem as well. So now these guys are buffed. He has 5 growth power, and it's just going to be up to, can he play something to complement the Mangy Wolf? If he could get a Great Wolf in this draw, Artr0x is going to be in plenty of trouble, but right now he's currently behind in resources, but still has plenty of cards that he can play. So both of these players acknowledging the Double Vader, which is very strong when you can get it going, but Royal Spearman is at least going to stop some of the direct attacks on one idol, but Light gets the Great Wolf. Artr0x is officially on notice here in Game 1 here. He's going to have to get a lot of stuff going in a hurry as Light moves his creatures down, puts the Great Wolf in front just to try and protect his 2 Vaders, because that's very important for his early game strategy. So Artr0x moving up and puts out a Royal Skirmisher as well. And I find the movement here interesting between these 2 players because they're not trying to engage each other, but on the other hand, Artr0x also wants to take out that totem, because if you leave those totems on the board, they can hurt you very much over time, because it is a flat +1 to every creature on the board. So right now, Light gets a rally, which he ditches, and actually gets another Great Wolf, which is, he probably would have been happy to, probably not happy to play the Mangy Wolf because there wouldn't be anything to attack, but now with the Mangy Wolf in his pocket and 2 Great Wolves that cover pretty much every tile on the board, Artr0x's units are possibly going to be in a little bit of pain here. So Light moving his Great Wolf back up. Unless Artr0x has new orders or something, or a transposition play and a Blessing of Haste, he's not going to be able to take out those 2 Vaders. So it could be wise for him to try and take out one of the Great Wolves, and he has a focus right there. So that Great Wolf is, unfortunately for Light, going to be going down. And there's, right now, an interesting position for Light. He does get a rally, but there's not too much he can do to actually take out these units right now. So he does have the top of the board, and he does have 2 Vaders that he needs to try and protect in some way, shape, or form. He ditches the rally and gets a Pother, and goes ahead and plays the Mangy Wolf as well, and Pother's down. That was a fantastic move. Did you catch that? He put the Mangy Wolf up there to force the Great Wolf to move down 1 tile, because Pother is random, but if there's only one place you can go, that's it. So the Mangy Wolf, why he didn't protect up there is because he's putting the Great Wolf down to go ahead and take out this entire row. So with a smart Pother and a smart placement of the Mangy Wolf, Light clears Artr0x's board. So what's he going to do in return? He has 4 cards, 4 cards, 5 resources. And Light gets a Fertile Soil. He could play another Vader. He could play a Kinfolk Veteran. So what's it going to be for Light? He's already really far ahead. And is he going to opt to keep his creatures on the board, or is he going to opt to Fertile Soil? He opts to keep his creatures on the board for now. No need to play the Fertile Soil when he can just keep ramping up with his bunches of Vaders. But there's a Mangonel from Artr0x, and the speed Mangonel, something you got to worry about is he has these 3 units clumped together, and there goes the Totem, the Mangy Wolf, and the Vetter So Light still with an advantage, but maybe not as much of one, but with a Kinfolk Veteran in his pocket and 2 Kinfolk Veterans and a Mangy Wolf now. So Light's going to be able to respond to whatever Artr0x tries to put out here. As Light decides to move his Vader a little bit higher up, I know that does put him next to the Great Wolf, as this Great Wolf is vulnerable if Artr0x has another speed mangonel in his hand, but instead he plays an Honorable General. So Light, with plenty of options here, he could try and keep the General, or he could try and take the General out, or at least start to do some damage with the Kinfolk Veteran, or he has the entire top of the board to himself. This could be a good place to possibly Sister of the Fox and Fertile Soil. As he ditches a Quake. Quake's not really necessary. That's where it's a good place to play the Sister of the Fox, because you know he wants to keep that Mangy Wolf, and you know he wants to keep that Kinfolk Veteran. So there's the Fertile Soil on the Sister, and a third Great Wolf in Light's deck is already in his hand by turn 9. So great turn events for Light. As right now, Artr0x Imperial Resources, because what else is he going to do? Not too much here. He doesn't want to put a lot on the board, and Imperial Resources is one of the key cruxes for a lot of order decks that I'm seeing nowadays, because you sort of get around to this turn 10, turn 11, turn 12, and this is a very efficient card that will give you lots of power, lots of scrolls. It does cost 7 resources. It pretty much says take a turn, but if you can play an Imperial Resource or 2 over time, that will get you in a very strong position in the late game. But Light's not looking to go to the late game. Light's looking to end this game early. And if he can get a Lucky Pother, he might be able to take it. Oh, actually, he's not looking for a Lucky Pother at all. He's going ahead and he's moving down the Great Wolf. So once again, Light being very smart with his Pothers, moving his Vetters so that his Great Wolf is funneled to the bottom of the board, and the Kinfolk Veteran's going to be able to be added and take out this Honorable General as well. Or actually, no, don't even need that. He has the Ragged Wolf and the Great Wolf and the Ancestral Totem to buff everybody, so he doesn't even need to play the Kinfolk Veteran right now. So Light putting even more creatures on the board, buffing his wolf, and adding a valuable protector in front of it. And still the board is cleared, and Artr0x is way behind right now. He may have the resources, he may have the cards, but he's going to have to do something to clear a lot of this board. And there's a start as we see an ouch and a haha, that's nice, as there's another mangonel right there. And there's the speed as well. So good fortune there to get the Pother to move that Vetter down one direction. There were, let's see here, there's only a, let's say, a 20% chance of that Vetter moving in one direction, and it did. So he is able to mangonel and take out that Great Wolf. But right now, Light still has plenty of cards that he can follow up with. He can play he can play the Ragged Wolf, and with the Totem out, that'll be enough to take it out. And he has a fresh Great Wolf out. And it is possible for Light to end this game in a turn or 2 with the God Hand in his pocket. But Artr0x just being a step behind. His orders been pretty powerful recently. But one good way for Growth to combat it is just to try and keep the pressure on. Keep taking every creature off that you can. As you can see, the Pother for card draw. There's a Ranger's Bane and or Sister of the Fox. One of those cards looks like it'll likely be sacrificed for resources, and he can play the Kinfolk Veteran as well, which he does to at least put some damage on this Night Scholar, as Light is in a great position to end this game in the next turn unless Artr0x can pull off some kind of miracle. As like I said, this is the finals. Both of these players have been playing for a long time. This isn't just a game of, as Artr0x is saying, he's probably guessing there's a GG up ahead, as he goes ahead and drops Spearman in this lane, which is interesting with two of these at 2 damage. But yeah, this is going to be a series that's just as much about mental endurance as it is about getting the cards in the right place. But right here, Light has everything he needs to end this game this turn, if he can. Close to this turn. He can move the Great Wolf down. This Night Scholar is going to at least be a block for one more turn, potentially. But let's see what Light decides to do to manage this. There's the God Hand. So Light has almost eliminated Artr0x and almost taken game 1, but instead, once again, he's just clearing his board, taking his time. He only needs to get down one more idol. But Artr0x now Only has 3 cards, not nearly as much as he'd like to respond with, as there's a Ducal Spearman and a Royal Vanguard. So Light holding an advantage here, as you didn't see that from the replay, but he does draw a second God Hand. It'd be nice if the replay showed that, but this is still good software for viewing replays, but still a work in progress. But a second God Hand from Light in turn 14 is going to mean this game is ending right now. And in fact, he can take out most of the idols, not all of the idols though. But Light with a dominating victory in game 1, as he was just able to stay constantly ahead of the curve of Artr0x before Artr0x could ramp up his deck in the mid game. So Light controlling victory in game 1. So this is way to fail with a replay for this tournament final. We're going to be going straight to game 2 here. Look for the link in the description or an annotation right here. I will see you all in game 2.